Where are we going? North.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
Therapeutic benefit in role-playing games.
Welcome to Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh yeah, baby.
Your presence requested in exchange for treasures.
Ripper.
Are we talking one treasure each?
Count that.
Welcome back to Dungeons and Dragons. We are continuing the Mimic's Bane. We met the characters. The show is about a bunch of retired max level heroes who have opened up shop inside of a giant mimic that they slayed in the past. And what's going on now is they're kind of just interacting with the customers, showing off their fantastic personalities, and the wagon that was delivering all of the goods for the day had some sort of hiccup, and Namfoodle, the bard, left to go see what that was this morning. So where we last left off precisely was with Venus sharing with Cog that she could have the darkness consume Fog, Cog's apprentice that he just got.
I mean, if he gets too annoying.
Yeah. So pick up right there. What say you, Cog?
Venus, not now. We can't have another mess to clean up with all these patrons around.
And you just see the eye beneath the ear just roll and then disappear.
And Cog sort of chuckles to himself and goes back to the business of bouncing folks and slapping high fives and stuff.
Yeah, as effectively not actually checking like who anybody is, just like, you know, making sure that nobody is coming in hostile.
Yeah, exactly. I'm used to a lot of fans coming in to see me, and so yeah, like you said, I'm not like checking credentials as much as I am just greeting people and keeping an eye out for any unsavory folks.
Not to mention like the sheer mass of Cog. Like it's not just the height, you know. It's like when like the strong men, like they're just barrels, you know. Like they're not that like triangle shape. They're just like gargantuan people. And that's what Cog's like, you know.
Yeah, I feel like Cog doesn't go through the front door. Like there's a section of wall that just parts for Cog so he can enter the Mimic's Bane and then closes.
Yeah. It's too. He's even broader than Yaruk, who like is just a massive stone golem because he's just like so broad. It's like his triceps are bigger than like other people's biceps.
Other people's chests.
Yeah. The smoke dissipates coming from the back room. Ewan is kind of like thinking to himself, like, Namfoodle's been gone for a while. And then like looks around and notices that there are a lot of people who are just uniformly in robes, which stands out. And they're not together. And that's kind of like why it wasn't just like a group of like weird robed people showed up at once. They're all dispersed around the tavern. But Ewan is kind of like looking around and eyeing that. And Venus also would notice that walking around. The two of them kind of like make eye contact. But Yaruk and Cog both just kind of like, whatever. You know, like, some young ranger comes up to Cog named Lala, who is also a fan. Cog, I feel like I'm pretty strong, and she's not like buff or anything, but she's in shape. You know, she's like, I feel like I could use some tips for my workout regimen. You know, like I feel like I need to mix like some strength in with my speed. You know, like I'm good at dodging stuff and shooting on the fly, but I feel like my bow shots just like don't have the oomph. And so she's like kind of standing there in front of Cog asking for these tips when the robed figures all stand up simultaneously and begin hurling fireballs around the tavern. All right, so it's time for action. Who goes first? This is just whatever makes the most sense. So if you're being ambushed, then you go second. But if it's a tie, then the heroes will go first. So most of your actions in combat will be opposed. These are called crucial rolls. These are whenever you're attempting to force a setback on somebody else through striking them, chasing them down, capturing them, befuddling them, etc. So whenever you make these opposed checks, the loser will receive a setback token. Once you obtain more setback tokens than your star power, you are defeated for the scene. If you make a roll where the difference is higher than double the opponent's star power, they are instantly defeated, and vice versa. So you blast an enemy with a bazooka, and your check is a 14, while a goon with star power 2 attempts to dodge, only rolls a 6. You instant defeat them. The final thing we need to know about is oomph. So you can spend these points to swing the episodes in your favor a number of ways. You can spend 1 point to re-roll a single time and keep the result if it's higher, add your star power to a check, lower the attack of a goon squad by 6, retcon the scene a little to help you, like declaring that there's a stack of crates to hide behind, or there's a manhole to jump down nearby. These can be denied at the discretion of the GM, of course. You can also use oomph to tweak your traits a little bit. So let's say that you have a staff, and you want to say, all right, I can shoot some energy out of the staff, and this will help me like propel myself out of a pit or something. You can spend 2 oomph to remove a setback token anytime, unless you're already defeated, or to turn an instant defeat into a setback token. Any questions about that?
Probably, right. But I'll bring them up when we get to combat, if we get there.
Right. I was like, I have several, but let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we're going to say that you guys will act like they've already acted. They've like thrown fireballs into the air. And so like while they're airborne, we'll shift to the heroes to go.
So as I literally just finished saying that the tavern was already once burned down by Yaruk, so I'm like, I see these fireballs getting blasted up towards the ceiling, and I'm just, what the? So Eywin, being he is an elven wizard, and he knows all of the subtle nuances of every spell he's ever come across. I would like to basically kind of start like summoning this windy vortex that I could like cast and then blow out the fireballs before they hit the ceiling.
Okay, cool. So you will roll your d12, and we're saying that is under Master of the Arcane, which is a 12 for Eywin. So very, very high stat. In fact, the cap for any possible stat.
My roll was a 7.
So that goes up to a 19. So I shall roll an opposed check, but it's extremely likely that you succeed. So yes, you succeed in completely, what's the right word? I don't know, hushing out every single fireball that's airborne.
Extinguish.
So just quick
Extinguish.
wind blast. Yeah, extinguish. The wind is so fierce and intense that it blows like the patrons back to the walls. You see like tables flip over, and like alcohol is flying through the air. Yaruk
I would say, like, in response to that, there are just shadowy tendrils just jutting out of every corner of the tavern, just catching everything to make sure that nothing spills, breaks, or gets, any more disorganized. And then after the wind is done, everything just kind of gets put back together.
Okay, so let's make a roll for that. And let me put you up. So I'm going to say that is your magical pact with unspeakable alien being.
That's fair.
And that will also be a 12. So this roll is essentially to nullify damage to everything inside.
Any more damage. So that is 4, so that would be a 16.
A 16. So yeah, let's say that you're catching all the patrons, like nobody is injured, crashing.
Yeah, prioritizing obviously the non-culty patrons.
Yeah. So yeah, all of them are being like grabbed by this like black morass, which is pretty unsettling to anybody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, everybody in the tavern is going to have horrible nightmares probably for the rest of their lives. But they will still have lives. And Venus will make this defense whenever she needs to.
And yeah, catching like furniture and just like setting it down. So it's basically like the room is set with all the furniture just on the outside, and there's nothing in the middle. The only people who are unaffected by both of these things is Cog, who's still just kind of like standing there, like flexing, like the wind like majestically blows his lion's mane, and he is completely unfazed by the force of this wind. And like the tentacles like go to like grab him to protect him, and then it's like, oh, he's fine, and then it just moves away to something else. Fog, however, is like, oh my god, and starts like flailing, and the tentacle does like keep him secure. And Yaruk just notices something's going on from the kitchen.
What so is there like anybody close to me that I can?
Oh sure, like you can see like the people in robes are the only ones who got like slammed into the walls. And as you come out, I mean, like any of them are within your range for the scene.
Okay, so I'm just gonna walk up to one who's near me and just say, please leave the establishment. You were doing a lot of bad things here, and you were making it really hard for us to enjoy ourselves. And I would like to read poetry, and I would like to cook, and it's very good.
So you see the figure as you're like speaking to him. This crest begins glowing on his robe, and it is a dragon's maw with the world inside of it. And with your knowledge, you recognize this to be the mark of the mighty dragon, Megistos Magnare. The Immeasurable is his nickname. So you see the crest, and you begin like talking to him, and he has essentially like no reaction to what you're saying, but he's also not doing anything. Like he's just kind of like sinking down like to the ground after slamming into the wall, while you just stand over him like, please leave, and he just kind of like sinks down.
So I'm gonna like become Yaruk the bouncer and just lift both of them off the ground. I'm assuming I have the strength for that, right? Since I'm a stone. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. So
I'm gonna go. I don't normally do things like this, but this is very disruptive behavior. So do I need to roll for this, or?
So all you want to do is just pick up two of them and then just like carry them out.
Yeah, then just deposit them outside. But I'm taking a mental note of like what I saw with the dragon, and I'll alert everyone once everyone's gone.
Oh yeah, so this is not a challenge for you to do this. Like you pick both of them up, they like the weight is meaningless to you, and so you just kind of like hold them both up like over your head and just like walk out like by everybody and just like place them outside and like close the door behind you. and meanwhile Cog's just like watching these things unfold.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for an opportunity to bash something. So who's remaining then?
So like of like the assailants, like you know from experience that they're all like disabled for maybe a few seconds after being like blown back. Like Ewan's main purpose for his spell was to extinguish fire. It wasn't to, because it was the same blast also hit the patrons. So he didn't want to like really injure people. It was just kind of like just enough to snuff out the fire.
Yeah. So I mean, so what I like to do is like to grab the nearest bar table and hurl it like a hockey puck toward the fire wielding assailants.
So you want to like kind of do like a Captain America type thing where it like spins and like bounces?
No, I want to do like a cog type thing, Conrad.
Yeah.
No, I would
Captain
say,
America
like,
does cog stuff, not the other way around.
as the table flies through the air, like the camera pans by Venus, and she's just like.
So I would say that this falls under legendary strength, as well as big cat agility. So like I feel like this would be a good opportunity to use linking, which, as like a reminder, that is you pick the main stat and you make that roll, and then you add a flat bonus based on the tier of the other stat. So big cat agility is superhuman rather than cosmic. Cosmic begins like is 9 to 12. Superhuman is 5 to 8, and 4 down to 1 is human. So you'd roll with the modifier of 12 plus 3. So 15 total there for that check.
15 is the bonus added to my roll?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah. It is
Well, I rolled a nat 12.
And you rolled a nat 12. So
Yeah.
boon.
So boom.
So you add double your star power to the roll beyond that. So you're adding 23 to the roll. So you just rolled a 35. I don't think that's going to happen again for the rest of this series. So, but I mean, like all of Cartoon Action Hour. The roll.
Trying to impress Fog here.
Yeah. So
We just pretty much turn our tavern into a pachinko machine of tavern tables and just knock everybody out.
Yeah, just
yeah. So like this is going to be an insta defeat of all of the goons. So you grab it and you do like the initial spin like a discus and you release it and it goes flying and it smashes the first guy and the trajectory and force is such that it immediately rockets back to you. And like this is all so fast that nobody else can even move. So it comes back to you. You then just punch it and redirect it at the next one, knocks that dude out. You do a spin kick, like just like so ridiculously flashy and with such precision. Like none of the patrons are remotely like at risk of being struck by the flying table. And it's just ricocheting back and forth and you precisely knock out every single assailant. And at the end of it, you just catch it like one-handed, like with your fingers in front of you, and then just like place it down gently.
yeah,
and you
just
can
put it
see
back in
that,
front of
like-
the patrons that were sitting there previously.
Yes. Yeah, the only difference is that the table, because of like you striking it over and over while it was spinning that fast, is just smaller. Like you can see that like it's been like shaved down.
They got sanded down against all the walls and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Just like place it down and like grab a chair, set like one of the patrons back up next to it. Fog is like standing, like barely being like recovering from the tentacle saving him, and it's just like, oh, like he has seen like everything he's ever dreamed of in this moment. He can't even process it.
Why do they even bother?
And at this point, like all the patrons kind of look around, like unsure of what happened, but then all just like cheer. And so you just hear like this like uproar, like yeah, just amazed. And what transpired here in a matter of seconds was, a dozen fireball spells instantly extinguished. Everybody went flying. A bunch of creepy tendrils like that are just so disturbing. Save everything. You see the golem kind of just like walk out, like look around, tell them to please leave, carries a couple of them out, puts them down, and then like Cog, after all of this, just annihilates all of them with this majestic discus throw. So that's that action scene. The power was clearly on display of the heroes as they at no point were at any risk of failure. It was just like overwhelming success at all of these like super powerful spells and abilities. And Yaruk comes back in, learning of the crest.
Welcome to Demons and Dragons.